companies who leverage data, are you actually doing anything with that data? If you've got the data, great, but shouldn't you be doing something about it? Good morning, everybody. Today, Ruby and I are coming back around to a conversation we had very early on when we were doing these walks and talks. And that's the conversation of data and using and leveraging data. So A, do you have data in your business? B, do you look at that data? And C, do you make changes based upon that data? And it's the C one that's becoming a little more challenging. So a lot of people that I talk to don't have data at all. So let's start there. So fixing that problem, that's a good idea. So how do we fix the problem of not having data? We get data, whether that's Google Analytics, social media platform data, email, financial, all of it. So you got to gather it to use it. So the second part is, are you using that data? Do you take that data and do anything with it? Meaning, we can look at the data and say, that's great, we have data, amazing. On to the next thing. Not helpful, but on to the next thing. And then the last piece is, gosh, why don't we do something about it? We have data. Let's make some changes based upon that data. Let's do something differently because of that data. So if you're going into your analytics dashboards or you're going into your financials, like, are we making changes that are reflective of what the data represents? So are we looking at conversion data? Is that something that we're leveraging? Are we looking at augmentation of what we already have based upon what the data tells us? And so we're coming back to this concept because a lot of people don't have data, but that's a problem that's kind of fixing itself. There's a lot of people that really now understand that that data really matters and has value, and we're going to make changes based upon it. The looking at the data part is getting better. So if you have the data, are you looking at it? Generally speaking, I think whether it's once a week or once a month or once a quarter, some people are looking at data. The doing something about the data is a different matter. So I don't think enough companies are spending time doing something about the data. So what does the data tell me? It tells me a story. What am I going to change based upon that story? Well, if you have that level of insight understanding, you can really dig into those problems. But if you don't, then you're playing the game with one hand tied behind your back. So you have to be able to do something with the data that you have. You have to be able to leverage it, change it, make website changes, flow changes, funnel changes. Like, all of that stuff becomes so vitally important that if you're not doing that, if you're not spending time on that, you're not getting the full measure of the data that you have. So call to action today is, let's sit down and talk about this data regularly. Let's do that. That's really important. But more important than that, let's have the insight. Let's become data scientists to a level that allow us to say, hey, we need to have a conversation about this data. This data is not good. This data needs to be improved. This data is more important than we think it is. And then let's make some optimization points, whether that's through the landing pages we use, the content we generate, the types of information we're supplying. That's the stuff that we want everybody thinking about. All right, rant over. Ruby says, don't just look at your data, do something with it. Make yourself better. You can do that. That's the thing you can do. Anyway, have a great one. Walking and talking with Ruby.